all new WMEG Radio.
When truth doesn't matter anymore.
Welcome to The Outsiders. This is your host, Sean Sims, and I'm with my very excellent co-host, Kim Banks.
Good morning.
This week has been a wild ride. What's going on in the country? We've got Corvettegate. We've got all kinds of issues going on with the city as usual. And I'm just going to let our people know, let our listeners know, and YouTube people, we have a special guest. He'll be calling in at around 11:30 or so. That's Marvin, Doc Cheatham, the former president of NAACP Baltimore. And he's going to be calling in. He's telling me he's got some breaking news. So this is the show.
That's what we like here at
We're the Outsiders with
WMEG, the Outsiders. We like breaking news.
We are breaking news. The show's breaking news. The show's hot. A lot's going on. I got a lot of feedback, positive feedback, the last time the doc was on, and we're going to have him on about 11:30 or so. So a lot of feedback, positive feedback, and I want to get right into it. What we're going to have, I guess, within our first half an hour, it's going to be a clip-a-thon, because we have a bunch of clips. I got to play these clips because of what's going on and the craziness in this country and in this city. First of all, Kim, I got to give a shout-out. I watched this fight, my wife and I, Gervonta Davis, the Tank, Gervonta, WBA lightweight champ. He, 130 pounds, he defended his title and did well. The guy couldn't even come out. 8th or 9th round, the guy couldn't even come out. He did a Roberto Duran, no mas. That was Hector Luis Garcia, who Gervonta Davis took out. He's a Baltimore native, and I'm watching the fight, and it's first round. I've never noticed this. He's got this big tattoo. It's huge. Baltimore on his back. Wow. Big tattoo of Baltimore. Nice. So he's a native son, born and raised.
He's proud.
Just like Kim Banks and myself, Sean Sims.
Do you know the meaning of that tattoo, though?
The meaning of the Baltimore tattoo?
On his back.
You've got to tell me, Rob.
That he put the city on his back. That's the reason why these.
You know what? I like that.
Wow.
Yeah. I love
that is hot. Yeah.
Can I share something about him?
Oh, sure. Go right ahead.
You watched the fight. All right. At the end of the fight, did you see when he was back in the dressing room?
I saw him do a backflip.
No, I'm talking. So you didn't see when he actually walked to the back of the dressing room?
I saw part of it. Was he with his mom or the daughter?
After he kissed his mom.
Yes. Okay.
Did you see the young man that was walking right behind him?
No, I can't remember. What happened?
All right. The young man that was walking behind him, that's my cousin.
Oh, wow.
He's actually, he's signed with Mayweather Promotions. He's fighting his first professional debut February 4th.
Okay.
In D.C., his name is Derek Scooter Davis.
Okay.
They said he's the next up-and-coming prodigy, so please be on the lookout for him. He's
Go
been
ahead,
training,
Scooter.
Yes, he's been training with Javante. That's sort of like his mentor. He is signed to Mayweather Promotions, so we really want to get behind him now. For those that want to get some backstory on him, just go to YouTube and Google Shark Season or Scooter Davis, and you'll see all his fights.
Scooter Davis.
Yes, as an amateur. So.
And he's your cousin.
Fantastic.
Yes, he's my cousin.
Okay, is he good?
As an amateur, he was like 141-4.
Okay, he's good.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. What I'm going to do, I want to get him on the show.
Yeah.
We got to get him on the show.
We can make that happen. It's not a problem. I mean,
Yeah,
this is not my play cousin. This is,
The real
like his mother always tells the story about how.
blood cousin.
Yes.
Okay.
His grandmother always tells the story about how I was a little boy. She used to change my diapers. But she always tell it at the inopportune moment.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to my cousin Murray. Murray, stop telling people you changed my diapers.
The diaper changing.
But when you mentioned Javante, I would be amiss not to mention Scooter.
You got to mention Scooter, and
Yes.
we got to have him on the show.
Yes.
I can make it happen.
This is a Baltimore show, and he's going to be fighting in D.C. as well.
Yeah, that's where he's from. He's actually from.
And he's from D.C.
He's from D.C.
Well, this fight took place at Capital One Arena, and again, shout out, and we want to get your cousin on the show, and let's jump right into it. Rock, cue up clip 1, cut 1.
Was students, alumni, and friends to come together for a great black time. It was an economic boom for the city of Baltimore and allowed us to see, and allowed people to see, especially those coming from outside, the renaissance that is taking place right before our feet each and every day in this very, very special city. We are so grateful for the nearly $20 million generated from the event in 2022, from the engagement of more than 100 minority-owned businesses, the utilization of our great hotels and restaurants that this tournament saw and brought to Baltimore, the best of Baltimore, the best of what we have to offer. And we know that as we are now moving even further out and dealing with the pandemic, that thanks for all.
Okay, the best in Baltimore. We don't have the best mayor. I mean, we got a mayor who's feckless, who's weak. I mean, he's pompous, arrogant. You know what? Somebody told me something. I mean, I had psychology courses when I was in college, and somebody told me something. This pompous, if you look at Brandon Scott, when he's being interviewed or he's at a podium, his nose is kind of stuck up a little bit. His chin is kind of up a little bit, this pompous attitude. And someone told me, that's to cover up a lack of either intelligence or confidence. That's a cover up. Because I'll tell you what, when I was in college, we had this class. I'll never forget it. I got to tell this quick story. I'll never forget it. It was this guy in the class, and it was an English lit class, and he would have to answer every question. He would have to give his opinion on every topic, and it got annoying. I mean, this is the whole semester. This guy. Oh, I've got it. This is how I feel about this subject matter. And he would pontificate on and on. And I'm looking at the professor like, could you stop this? I mean, this is getting ridiculous. So, I don't know, maybe he was doing this to impress the ladies or to get people to think he was smarter than he was, and he had this pompous attitude like he was so smart. So I'm saying to myself, you know what, let me find out what Ace got on this exam, because he's interrupting the class. He's got this attitude, just like Brandon. Brandon likes to use a lot of words and says nothing. So I asked the guy, one of the exams, midterm exam, I say, hey, Ace, how did you do? What kind of grade? D-. Now I'm going, wait a minute. You're interrupting the class, almost every class we're having, and you're interrupting professor, and you got to pontificate on what you think you know, and you got a D-. See, he was just putting on airs, and that's just my opinion. But no.
If he got a D-, then clearly he's not as intelligent as he was, trying to make people think he was.
Exactly. And what about this thing where he's mentioning a renaissance in Baltimore, a Baltimore renaissance?
You know what makes me so angry? Baltimore is just rich with so many gifted, intelligent people. So many great promising, prospective entrepreneurs. And yeah, we are rich. We have a lot of human resources here in this city. If we just had a mayor and a government that was willing to provide the resources that folks need. Just like, real quickly, I was talking to Nicole from WMEG. She had this organization on her show this morning. And it was founded by a young man who is now 24 years old. Let me see. I took a picture of the actual flyer. And they go out in the community and they teach the youth, but not just the youth, the whole family. Here it is. It's Young Successful Leaders Incorporated.
Okay.
And they are based in Edmondson Village, and they go out in the community and they teach the kids and the whole family, their parents, how to budget, they're preparing them to be able to invest their money. You know, they're teaching them life skills and how to gain employment, everything that they would need. But here's the thing, they're running a fundraiser right now, everyone, and they need donations. They're trying to expand, but what they are trying to get is more help from the city, from the mayor. You know, so organizations like this, you have these young people with these brilliant ideas. All they need is the funding to continue the program and all these boarded up properties in the city. I do not understand why we are not making use of that. There has got to be a way that the mayor can make these properties available to some of these businesses that need a space to run their companies out of.
Well, you have to have a competent person in leadership to do that stuff.
Yes, you do.
That's the problem.
Yes, you do.
So this organization you're talking about, we need to talk to them as well.
Yeah, I want to have them on the show.
Okay.
Yeah, she just had them today. I would love to bring them back.
Kim, you work on that.
Yes,
Get them on
I
the show, and then we'll have Rock's cousin. We'll be loaded up next month.
Yes.
And I want to get to these guys are interesting. They're not the sharpest knives in the drawer. I mean, one of them made a comment during the show about Charm City and Mayor Schaefer in Charm City. 1971 is when Mayor Schaefer came up with that. And I said, wait a second, that's not when Mayor Schaefer came up with that slogan. He had some campaign ad guys because he had issues that were going on with the trash collection and police strikes and this sort of thing. And that was in 74 because I remember that was my first year in private school. I was a kid going to private school first year, and I'm saying, wait a minute. I mean, these guys, I mean, you make statements, you got to make sure you know what you're talking about. I mean, 1971 is not when John City came about. That came about in 1974. But, it was interesting. I wanted these guys, Rock, could you go ahead, and because it's interesting what I heard with these guys. Could you cut to?
This is the Nutcracker, Billy Bob. You're listening to WABL-FM. I'm with my sidekick, WD-40. Say hi.
I've been doing now my life.
WD-40, we know you've been to Annapolis. We really don't care. But we do care about the mystery of Larry Hogan. Governor Hogan leaving office. They had a 70-80% approval rating for a Republican and a Democratic state. That is unheard of, and we can't figure it out, and we're the experts. WD, just put over there, WD, just keep drooling, and I'll take care of it. But could somebody help us figure out the mystery of Larry Hogan? How can he be so popular and be a Republican in a Democratic state?
Now, look, I heard these guys, and I'm going, okay, this is interesting. I mean, they don't sound like the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they made Larry Hogan. Why is Larry Hogan so popular as a Republican in a Democratic state? I mean, his numbers are off the chart. And it's really quite simple. It's not complicated. They couldn't figure it out. Experts couldn't figure it out. We don't know, but it's simple. Really, Larry Hogan, to the Republicans, they look at him, a lot of Republicans look at him as a rhino. I don't mean a rhinoceros because of Larry's girth. I'm not making fun of that. I mean a rhino, a Republican in name only. So in this state, he's coming in. O'Malley is taxing everything. He's taxing dogs, chickens, cats, the rain, the weather, the sun, whatever he can get his hands on, he's taxing. And the fiscal policies he had were a mess. So Hogan just comes in and he's fiscally conservative. It matches up perfectly for what was going on with O'Malley and his shenanigans. So
there's that word, my word.
Yes, that's your word.
Yes,
Kim, that's your word. The shenanigans. And it was a perfect storm. But as far as the rest of his policies and the way they look at him, the term rhino started in the 1990s, okay, and Republican in name only. And he was the perfect fit because he was what the Republicans consider a Democrat in cheap clothing, okay? So that's why it matched up well. But it's because he was a rhino and it fit. So that's why he was so popular in the Democratic state as a Republican governor. What do you think about that, Kim?
It makes sense. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
But WD-40 and this guy, Billy Bob Nutcracker, whatever, they couldn't figure it out. So I'll help them. I'm helping them out. Okay, guys, got it. If you need any more advice, feel free to call.
Well, we already know they need some help, clearly, because for everything that we say here at The Outsiders, they are pinching our words every time.
Because we're smarter.
Yeah, stealing,
because
what we say. They are not very original.
No.
We are very original.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
There you go.
And I want to jump in because, like I said, this is a clip-a-thon.
But, before you go any further, I do want to say, fantastic, we now have the first black governor.
Oh, I was going to get to that. We're going to get to him. In just a few minutes, we're going to get... You think that applause was
And the first Asian lieutenant governor.
Okay. Great news. Fantastic, great news. We're going to get to that, but first let's get to Corvettegate. I got to cut 3, Rock.
Is that alleged classified documents showing up allegedly in the possession of Joseph Biden? There's so much that needs to be investigated, and that's what I call for, is for everything to be investigated. But I'm suspicious of the timing of it. I'm also aware of the fact that things can be planted on people. Places and things can be planted. Things can be planted in places and then discovered conveniently. That may be what has occurred here. I'm not ruling that out, but
who the hell breaks in somebody's house, steals some classified documents from like 8-9 years ago, breaks in the house, puts it in the safe? Yeah, the president's house. What is his house? And we need to break in there and get these documents in his garage. Do that.
Look, that was the Hodge twins, and they were talking about what's going on with this Corvettegate and the documents. And the person you were listening to, that was Hank Johnson. Hank's a lawyer, and he's a U.S. representative representing Georgia's 4th District, giving his opinion on possibly someone planting the information or, somebody coming up and breaking in, and the possibility of it being planted. Even though Biden admitted that his Corvette, it was there next to the Corvette, and he admitted it. He didn't mention anything about anything being planted. Right. So this guy, Hank Johnson, now he's a character. Now this is an interesting cat because several years ago he had a theory, and again I gotta stress. He graduated from Clark Atlanta University, and I guess this is what they're churning out. And this guy, he's a character. He's something else. But Mark, I want you to cut to cut 4, and here's Hank Johnson again.
At its widest level is 12 miles from shore to shore, and at its smallest level, or smallest location, it's 7 miles between one shore and the other. Is that correct?
I don't have the exact dimensions, but to your point, sir, I think Guam is a small island.
Very small island, and about 24 miles, if I recall, long. So 24 miles long, about 7 miles wide at the least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide on the widest part of the island. And I don't know how many square miles that is. Do you happen to know?
I don't have that figure with me, sir. I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that. The Guam population, I think, currently about 175,000, and again, with 8,000 Marines and their families, it's an addition of about 25,000 more into the population.
The whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
Now, this genius is literally, he's saying that the island of Guam could have too many people that it will tip over and capsize. I guess like the Titanic. Now, I don't know what is going on in Georgia in the 4th District. This guy is an attorney. Now, I know some pretty smart attorneys. A. Dwight Pettit and I have had some really great conversations over the years, and he's a smart guy. And I know some smart attorneys. I also know some attorneys that are dumbbells, and this guy fits into that category. And he's a U.S. representative. Can you believe this? So this is the same guy saying that there may have been possibly a planting of documents at the Biden residence. So,
first of all, the way he talks, is it just me? I just want to take my fist and bang his bag and say, get it out, get it out.
The man is dumber than a box of hammers. So this is what's going on. Oh, in the U.S. representative and Corvettegate and islands tipping over. Let's move. Speaking of the governor, let's get off of this Hank Johnson character. Speaking of the governor, let's go with the governor. Westmore, okay, Robin Hood, the CEO of Robin Hood, nonprofit. You know, Robin Hood, what did Robin Hood do? Robin Hood robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. That's interesting. Anyway, just a thought. Rock, cut 5, please.
The federal bar so his office can prosecute more gun cases from the city. Moore's goal comes after Republican Governor Larry Hogan failed to get the Democrats in the State House to pass his Violent Firearms Offender Act, one that looked to crack down on sentencing for repeat violent offenders, never clearing both chambers. Now Governor Moore says he's open to looking at implementing tougher sentences for some of the repeat offenders who continue to commit crimes. We pressed him on how he will get Democrats on board after years of inaction.
Yes, being able to address the issue of violent offenders on our streets, repeated violent offenders on our streets, is going to be a priority, both in terms of how we're looking to move for the governor's office and the coordination measures that we have.
Okay, now, the answer to Mackenzie Frost, the Fox 45's question by Governor Westmore was smooth. I mean, that was smooth, wasn't it? It was a smooth answer. It was crisp. It was to the point. And I'm thinking, okay, during the campaign, even when this issue came up with him being born from Baltimore, it seems like he's, he can answer questions, boom, off the cuff, smooth, on Oprah. Oprah loves him, just loves him. So, who was here? Where? Oh, I thought you meant in the station, WBG. How could you not tell me she was here? Oh, okay, she was in Baltimore. What was she doing here? By. Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, the ball. My cousin's going on and on. I was at the ball. Oh, and now Chu Smith, who was supposed to be on today, our special guest, former Harlem Globetrotter, and he has his foundation. He's actually going to be on next month because he had an emergency. So I wanted to throw that in. And I'll also throw something in. I was invited to 2 balls. I was invited to 2 presidential balls, not governor's balls, 2. I was invited to the Obama ball. I just didn't feel like going. Seeing as though I came up with the campaign slogan. And
well, that
the
doesn't make sense,
ball.
Sean.
Nah.
You share.
Nah, I don't want it. We don't have enough time, but I will get into it next time. And I was invited to the Donald Trump ball. So I've been invited to 2 presidential balls. So there you go.
Now, did you go to that one?
I'm going to talk about all of that in another show. We don't have enough time.
I just want to know if you went, Sean. Did you go to the Trump ball or not?
Either one.
Okay.
I didn't go to either one now.
Hey, Kim.
Yes,
Sean
right.
always acting like he know people and he got things going on. Before we get our special guest on the line, hey, Sean, I got one that can out-Trump you.
Go ahead.
I DJ both of the Clinton inaugural balls.
Go ahead.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Go
it's
ahead.
on my resume.
You know what you should have.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
So you was invited, but I was actually there. I
I could have went. I just didn't want to go. Now
yeah, I DJ'd both of them.
Okay, rock. After the show, I'll give you a cookie. Let's go to clip with the caller right after we do this. Let Doc know I want to run this one clip, and we're going to bring him on. Okay.
All right, he can hear you.
Okay, Doc, we're going to bring you on right after this clip, and cut 6.
Will you use your position to work with lawmakers or perhaps urge them to pass legislation targeting repeat violent offenders? In the past, we've seen the legislature not take action on some of those plans. Will that change under this administration?
Yes, as I said, with this administration, we are going to be very, very clear that our ability to be able to work together, to be able to both address the very real fears that people have in communities, as we've seen over these past 8 years, a rise in violent crime. This is very personal to the people of this state, and it's an urgent issue for the people of the state. That's one of the reasons that the people of the state, we believe, voted for this ticket that we have assembled up here. So we are going to move very aggressively and coordinated to be able to address this issue.
We're gonna
Oh my God.
Well, the point being made is he wasn't quite as smooth on that answer. It was a lot of stuttering. He wasn't sure of the answer because, again, Mackenzie Cross hit him with one right between the eyes. I think it threw him off a little bit. But, that smoothness kind of went away. And we're going to see how Westmore performs. What he does, we're keeping an eye on him. I hope he does well. But the stuttering, you got to, bro, get it together. You're going to get tough questions. Imagine if he came on our show and some of the questions he would get. The stuttering, Mackenzie got you there a little bit. So we just wanted to point that out. And we have online our special guest. He's not in studio this week, but people have been clamoring, please bring Doc Cheatham back. And he's got some breaking news. Doc? Is Doc there? Hello, Doc.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do. Welcome to the Outsiders again. How
Good
are you
morning,
doing?
Doc.
Thank you so. Good morning. Thank you so much for having this colored boy.
Is that PC? Can you say colored? I don't know. Can you say that?
Yeah, I said colored. I'm colored brown.
Doc, it's great to have you on again. Kim's actually here this time because the last time you were in studio, but she was a little under the weather, but she's here today.
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Doc, what did you want to talk about? I know you have some news, and we're very excited, and we want to know what exactly is going on.
Well, I guess the first thing, in light of the fact that we did get a governor sworn in,
and he has presented his first budget. I don't think we need to do anything different than we do a mayor, we do a president, and we do a governor, that we always do a black agenda. And we put forth an agenda and we send it to those that will be affected by our agenda and our recommendations for things that we would like to see done during that term. I guess the current president of the United States, Biden, is on his second year of our report card. And of course, now is an appropriate time for us to create an agenda, a black agenda for our current governor. I don't mind saying it. I put it on Facebook with my 10,000 friends that I have. I said very candidly that I strongly supported this governor, and I went even further than that, that I materially and photographically endorsed him. And in fact, I'm on my way to my park now. You can actually see my endorsement of him.
Okay.
But at the same time, we have a responsibility to hold every mayor, every governor, every president of the United States. We have the responsibility to hold them accountable. And we need to create an agenda that we want to see this governor, when he runs for re-election, if in fact he does such, that we can judge him by, not just by words and promises, but we put in writing what the issues are that we have, and then hope after 4 years we can judge him not on what he said he was going to do, on what he's actually done.
Yes.
So I have put out that we are going to be requesting agenda items for the black agenda for our newly appointed and sworn in, not appointed, elected and sworn in governor, that I guess the first day of Black History Month, we will issue the black agenda that we are asking him to look at as governor, and hopefully in 4 years do what we can. I do know this. It is very clear in this governor's agenda that he has what's called a local budget. Okay. And that is funds, millions of dollars that have been set aside for local communities like Baltimore City and Howard County and Montgomery County. So we're going to not only be bringing up issues, but we're going to be, excuse me, I just hiccuped. We're going to be bringing forth some items where we feel money needs to be given to us, at least to the different counties. So I want to say that, you know, we're not going to be any different than we have been with the mayor. We have a report card for the mayor. Okay. I don't mind telling you, the mayor and the city council, none of them for the first 2 years, none of them have passed it. All of them have failed it.
Failed.
All of them have failed. The mayor, the controller, the attorney general, all of the city people have actually failed for the first 2 months. That's not to say they cannot make significant improvements in the next 2 years. But if they were going up for re-election, we would not be elected, any of them, because they all failed. Well, and that's on individuals' report card. We didn't rate them. The individuals called us and we asked them, how did you judge them? And overwhelming majority got less than 50 out of a grade of a possible 100.
So they've got 50% out of 100% grading. They received less than 50%. That is absolutely horrific.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
Well, that's bottom.
Well, we had 20 issues, city issues that directly impact decisions that they had made, not made, or basically done something wrong. And sadly enough, all of them failed. So they have 2 years for the re-election, which will be in June of 2024. We're hoping and praying that they all do significantly better. But these are items that individuals sent to us, and as a result of that, we created the report card. We're going to be doing the same thing for the next 2 weeks, creating a report card for the governor, and as well as the Senate and House members for the Maryland General Assembly. And so that way we can actually, when they come back in 4 years, we can know whether or not they passed or failed on the issues that we feel are important. And I would, I don't mind telling you, I'm going to ask the committee that we have, at least for one issue that's pertinent to me, is in your Baltimore City Afro-American newspaper this week, a very extensive article that covers the 8.5 years that the city of Baltimore has vehemently failed in addressing the food desert issue. So in this Friday's Afro, you can get it by internet or going to the store. I'm trying to find stores that have it because I can't find one, but I do get it through internet. But one of the major issues is we need federal government, state government, and city government to put money in to help us have food markets where our communities cannot afford it. And I'm saying this, if we can give $4 billion to our Jewish brothers and sisters in the Russian fight, I'd be damned if we can't give that kind of money to our own citizens.
Exactly. I'm agreeing with you wholeheartedly. And what does he have, like a $63 billion budget that he's going to work with? So, I mean, he's the 63rd governor with a $63 billion. I mean, you got an Illuminati 666 thing going on here for you conspiracy theorists. But he's got that kind of money. And with this grading system that you have, are you going to be doing this grading system? I mean, because when you're in school and college, university level or whatever, I mean, you get what, a quarterly grade, or you have exams and you have midterms, or how are you going to do that?
What I do is I reach out, believe it or not, I do not reach out to these young folks because they talk a good game, but they can't deliver. I go to seniors who understand and know the issues well. We basically vote on the issues. There are normally 20 issues. We normally give 5 points for each one, a rating of a 0 to a 5 on each one, which means a total grade you could get could be 100 if you got 5 points in each one of those 20 issues. I can't promise it's going to be 20, but the last few report cards that we have done have basically been 20 issues, 5 points each. And it's basically voted upon by those that serve on our committee. They're individuals from every civil rights group, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents. We don't discriminate so far as who helps us with the report card. But it's going to be interesting, but it stays for the 4 years. Once we create this report card for the governor for 2023, it won't be until the year of the election of the next governor election. It won't be until just before that we tell you what they have done, and that would then be the basis upon which you can judge whether you want them reelected or you don't want them reelected.
Okay, so that's the governor's election, and of course we have the mayor's election that's coming up because Brandon, Mr. 15% reduction in violent crime every year that I'm in office. I'm doing the math. This is the second year, so there should be a 30% reduction in crime, and in his 4th year, there should be a 60% reduction in violent crime. That's not the case, so we know he's got an F. We did a survey of our own, Doc. We're speaking with Marvin, Doc Cheatham, okay, and we're going over some issues, and he's got some breaking news, but we did a survey of our own, and his average was an F, and this is for Mayor Scott.
Well, all I can say is we're not going to be so prejudiced as to give anyone a B- if they don't deserve it. And I think that's what the mayor gave himself, which I think is really insulting to us, because he's the one that said how he would reduce crime, and on that basis alone, he failed himself. So how can he give himself a B minus when he failed his own criteria?
Well, I just think my opinion is of the smug and the pompousness. I don't think the guy is. I think he's as dumb as a box of hammers. To be perfectly honest with you.
Here's one for you. Here's one for you. I'm hoping, and I can't tell you whether or not these issues will or will not be, because there's a vote of 20 people who actually vote up or down the issues.
Okay.
But I'm going to be begging them that we address one issue where you have black representatives have not, for 10 years, we have not had an early voting site in the Western District of Baltimore City. We're the largest populated police district in the city of Baltimore. But for 10 years, under the ruling of Armstead v. Crawley Jones, who is the Republican director of the Board of Elections, for 10 years, we have not had an early voting site. But I don't just blame the Republicans. I blame these go-along, get-along Democrats like Antonio Hayes, who is a state senator. How for 10 years you have not allowed us to have an early voting site?
Well, again, with Antonio Hayes, we still have his man card, and he is a hot mess. I tore up the mayor's, Brandon's man card. I tore that up last week. And this thing with Brandon Scott and what happened when he threw Sawyer, the BOPA director, threw Donna Sawyer, threw her under the bus, because he's the one who makes that decision. The prior 2 years, that's the mayor's decision whether there's going to be a parade for Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. And he made that decision 2 years ago, and I believe he made that decision this year. And I believe that Kwasi Nkrumah ran cover for the mayor, came out and blamed Donna Sawyer, threw her under the bus. I guess he likes throwing the ladies under the bus. And there was a whole thing with that.
I will say this. Yours was the 5th radio show that I did the day after the mayor threw her under the bus. But he is the one who was pouncing his chest saying, oh, we're going to have a day of service. Well, he was the one doing the press conference on that particular day, which was Thursday. It was around 2:30. And then on that Saturday, you were the 5th radio show that I vehemently spoke out against what the mayor was doing. And, people can take credit for what they said or did, but all I can say is this, that I think y'all are being very nice in taking a man card. I'm taking Antonio Hayes' black card from him. Because I can't see anything that he has done for our community. He blocked the approval of the skateboard park. His polling place at Lillian Jones Rec Center was closed. He did not put any campaign signs there because it was no longer a polling place. And we physically drove over 60 senior citizens to another place when Antonio Hayes and the 3 delegates didn't do a damn thing to get those senior citizens to another location. And I can go down the list of things that Antonio has done. So you're nice. You're going to take his man card. I said, no, we need to take his black card from him.
Well, we're going to have to create another box. We're going to need a black card box and a man card. We got the man card box. Kim made this great-looking box, and I guess we're going to create a black card box. But I want to do quickly what was said by BOPA in regards to this, because I don't want to let this go. Because the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, what we had to go through as a people to get that holiday is important. Now, here's their statement. The Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day Parade is a mayoral event. At the request of the mayor, the Baltimore Office of Promotion and the Arts produces civic events like fireworks and the MLK Day Parade for the city of Baltimore because of our experience with large public events. Now, that says it all. He's the one who makes that decision. He's the one that canceled it 2 years prior, and he wanted to cancel it again. What's your problem with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Brandon? Are you jealous? because you couldn't even walk in the same room behind him? Are you jealous because you're nowhere the man that he was? Are you jealous because in your lifetime you will never do anything even close to what he did? And
preach!
So I'm just saying this, and as far as the comparison to Mayor Scott and to Mayor Schaefer, William Donald Schaefer, yeah, they had some things in common. They had some, like the letter of their last name is an S. Okay, that's in common. Single guys. Okay, that's in common. Not married. Okay, no wife, no kids. Now, Mayor Schaefer, even though he wasn't married, and Brandon and Mayor Schaefer have some things in common. Okay, so even though he wasn't, Mayor Schaefer actually cared for the citizens of Baltimore City. Brandon, you couldn't walk behind Mayor Schaefer, much less Martin Luther King Jr., because he actually cared. Brandon doesn't have a wife. I've never seen a guy with a lady friend ever, to be perfectly blunt. If anybody has, please let me know. But I have a wife. I had an incident in Baltimore City with a squeegee man person, and I've got a mayor. He doesn't have a loved one to look after, to a wife or kids like the citizens of Baltimore City do. There are guys out there, they have wives. They have kids. They want them to be safe. But you have this feckless, weak gelding of a mayor, and I just wanted to get off on my little soapbox just there for a little bit, because that's what's going on. And I love the fact that you have a grading system, Doc Cheatham. I love that, and I think, we're going to go over your grades that you rate these politicians, these elected officials. The outsiders are going to go over your grading system, and we're going to put it out there on air when you have the report.
We would love to have your input in the creation of this report card. Again, this is a report card that's coming from various individuals, groups, and organizations, Democrat, Republicans, gay, straight, black, white. It's coming from a collective group of us, but there are 20 of us that had civil rights experience that look it over and vote for it. But I would say this. One, I was president of 3 civil rights groups in Baltimore City.
Okay.
I don't know of any elected official now or ever before that's in office right now that was a member of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
Wow.
To my knowledge right now, there's only one person that is still living that as a minister was a member of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. What are you talking about, Doc? I'm talking about the overwhelming majority of ministers in the city of Baltimore were not, according to the records of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, where I was once president, their names never appeared on the books. You have 50 elected officials in Baltimore City. Guess what? None of them live in a food desert. None of them.
Of course not.
No wonder for 8 years we have not had any positive things done with the food desert. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Antonio Hayes. I'm talking about you, James Torrance. You folks don't give a damn that we got 1/3. It used to be 1/4 of the citizens in Baltimore live in the food desert. As a result of the Big Town and Mount Clair Junction now no longer having a food market, now 1/3 of Baltimore City residents suffer in a food desert.
That's disgusting. That's a disgrace.
And that's because none of the elected officials, federal, city, and or state, none of them live in a food desert.
Of course they don't live in a food desert. They are the elite. They are the power brokers. They look down on the citizens of Baltimore.
I got one more quick issue. Sure. I'm sitting right now in my park in the 1500 block of McKean. I put in every month since April, I have called 311 and given them a report of a huge tree that came down in the 1500 block of McKean.
Okay.
I'm looking at that tree right now because it's been down since April. Every month since April, I have called 311.
That is.
It is still sitting here.
Oh my goodness! Can you believe it?
And this guy that got paid, I think his last name was Mitchell, was getting paid $250,000
That is
and they cannot remove a tree in the 1500 block of McKean.
He's getting paid $250,000, and the tree's still sitting.
$250,000. That was his salary. The only one I see that's bigger than that. That the CEO of Baltimore City Public Schools, and then that's another issue we got to talk to about the city council. All of them are enthused about the CEO. How can you have a CEO and our children, since he's been in office, haven't got one thing of black history, of their own history? And 62% of the population of Baltimore is black. 80% of our schools are black, and our kids don't get their own education about their own history.
That is a shame. That's what's going on for this woman to be so highly paid, incompetent. She's incompetent. I mean, what was that? We had a hiccup there, Rock? Okay. Rock, we're in the middle of a report. You're killing me. No, look, seriously. If she's getting paid that kind of money, $350,000, another $150,000 in perks, and all this is going on with the school system, the education system in Baltimore City is one of the worst in the country.
Yes, it is.
And they keep paying this woman. Why? Why is she still in there? Could somebody answer that question?
The man said very clearly he gave her an award about 6 months ago.
He gave her what?
He's very pleased. He was very pleased with her. But maybe that's because Brandon don't have any kids in the school system.
He doesn't have a kid. He doesn't have a wife.
Even the CEO, her kids don't go to the school system.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
The mayor is just not invested in Baltimore City.
No, he's not.
That's just the bottom line. That's why nothing is getting done. He's not invested.
Nope, he's not invested. He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have kids. He doesn't have loved ones that he has to look after. And the people and citizens of Baltimore. I mean, you have women out here whose children are getting murdered on the streets in Baltimore City. Brandon doesn't have any kids. What does he give a rip? So what, Ann? Let's move on.
And all of this stuff is connected. The food deserts, the lack of education.
And maybe y'all, if y'all interview him,
sure.
I'd like to know what civil rights organization has Brandon become a member of?
That's a good question.
Now, I've been president of 3 different groups in Baltimore City. Southern Christian Leadership Conference, NAACP, and the National Action Network. Most of our governors that we had, both black and white, have been members of one, if not 3 of those organizations. My question is not only for Brandon, not Brandon alone, but every member of the Baltimore City Council. How many of y'all really give a damn that y'all either members of the NAACP, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which was founded by Dr. Martin Luther King in 1957, or the National Action Network? Did any of y'all belong to any of these groups?
That's a good question, and we're going to be calling them. I'm going to be making some calls. I've got a new booker. I've got someone coming on board with the outsiders who are going to make calls for us because I'm getting busy. I'm a busy man, so I can't do it as much, but we're going to be reaching out to these folks who are in office to ask them that very question, Doc. We're going to ask them that question, and we're going to find out. It seems to me they like to run. They don't want to answer questions, or they hide behind their communications people, or they hide behind this person and that person. I guess they feel as though they can't speak to us, or they're too important or above us, which is ridiculous, because the bottom of my shoes, I got gum on the bottom of my shoes right now. And, that's where I'm going with that. Trust and believe you are not above the outsiders or any of the citizens in Baltimore City. You are not above us by any stretch of the imagination. So they can get that thought out of your mind, okay? This thing where they think they're above the citizens of Baltimore City and just treat them like crap, to be perfectly blunt.
Yeah. Eventually they have to come out of the shadows and answer to what they haven't done.
But I give commendations to the overwhelming majority of our elected officials, male, female, black, white, gay, straight. I give commendations to the overwhelming majority of them because they all talk a good lying game. They all talk great. Ooh. They got great words to say. They got slogans for everything. But at the end of the day, I challenge anyone, call in and tell us what elected official you had that you think has done a good job since they've been in office.
Please, call in quick. If you want to call in right now, 443-267-6558, or you can call in after the show's over. We're going to be ending in just a few minutes. But if you want to call in to the number, The Outsiders, leave a message, 443-267-6558. Call in, leave a message with the studio of who you believe has been a council person, elected official that's doing a good job, and give some examples. And we would love to hear it because there's so few that we hear. They're trying to tax the businesses. They tax the businesses more. Now they're trying to fine them because some kids wanted to get out of school to eat some chicken. And all you have to do with that is just, when I was in private school, they had us on campus. By the time we went to school and the time we left, we had to stay on campus the whole time. We weren't just running around gallivanting all over the city or the county, which is where I went. We had to stay in school, so just you have them stay on campus. What's the problem?
Well, here's the one thing we'd be more than willing to do. That, we created our report card. It's not swayed one way or another. It gives you 20 issues related to the Baltimore City Council in those positions. And there are 20 different issues. There could be education. It could be crime. It could be infrastructure. And it will enable you very easily to score your elected official. I'd be more than happy to send to anyone that wants this report card, and you can give your elected official a grade, because I think you might be surprised or what kind of grades you give them based on facts, not on how well they dress or how well they talk. On 20 issues affecting us, you can grade your elected official, and you can come away with what your report card is. We have not done not one report card on the city council at this point. We've only put together the actual document, but you will grade your elected official. Then you will give him or her a grade that you feel is equivalent to the numbers that you assign to it. And I think you will be surprised when you look at the issues, what kind of grade you give your elected official. Because if you don't grade them on substance, then what the hell are you grading them on?
Yeah, exactly. They should grade them on substance, grade them on what they've actually accomplished, grade them on what they said they were going to do and actually did based off of that, not hairstyles or lack of dressing appropriately or wearing hoodies or what type of suits they wear, where they got the suit, Kmart or whatever place they purchased the suits, or color, skin color. Nothing. Don't grade them on that.
I need some help. I get the Afro-American newspaper by internet. I pay also, I get it through the mail. So I got my Afro yesterday, but I've been to 5 stores today, and I cannot find an Afro. I called, but of course, the Afro's not open on Friday or Saturday. If anybody sees an Afro, I will come to wherever you are and pay you a 50-cent reward. The paper costs $2. I'll give you the $2 and buy you a Pepsi, diet or not diet. But I'm trying to find some copies of the Afro, because there's an extensive article dealing with the 8 years of failure of Baltimore City and all of its elected officials not addressing the food desert problem in Baltimore City.
Well, what we're going to do as outsiders, Doc, thanks for being on the show. I'm going to go on a hunt for an Afro newspaper. I guess we're going to have to do that.
I'll buy all of them. I don't care how many they have. I'll buy them all.
Well, we have to find them first. Well, we're going to go on a hunt for the Afro-American newspaper at some locale. And people out there listening, if you can find one, that would be great. But we're going to end it. Doc, thanks for being here. Fantastic guest. The information.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. And of course, we've got to have you back.
Well, if you don't give me back, I'm going to be outside picking it.
Well, we're definitely going to have you back.
God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you and thank you.
Okay, take care. And everyone, that's been another episode of The Outsiders with Sean Sims, your host, and my excellent co-host, Kim Banks. And we want to say goodbye. We'll talk to you, see you, hear from you next week.
Enjoy your weekend. Be blessed.
Take care.